Hey, hello, everybody. This is Ralph with a spiritual topic today. And what I want to talk about is what is the difference between prayer and meditation? Now, very simply put, prayer is when we're talking to God. And prayer usually involves us asking God for what things that we need, begging God sometimes for the things that we really want, and sometimes desperately begging because we really want the things, but somehow deep down, deep inside, we feel that we just don't deserve it or we're not worthy of those things. And this is a problem that a lot of people have with prayer is that they know how to say the words, they know how to beg, they know how to ask, but deep down they're sabotaging their prayer because they don't really believe that it's going to work, or they don't really believe that they're worthy, that they deserve the blessings that they're asking the Almighty for. So prayer is all about talking to God, begging God, sometimes yelling at God, but a lot of times it's ineffective because deep down inside we don't really feel that we're worthy of accepting the gifts that we're begging for, asking for, sometimes demanding God for. Now, contrast this with meditation. Meditation isn't talking to God, meditation is being with God, listening to God, hanging out with God. And meditation can also be seen as building a relationship with God. And this contrasts greatly with prayer. Imagine how would you react to somebody that only comes to you and talks to you when they want something? It's like, hey, can you help me pay my light bill this week or this month? Or can you spot me an extra $100 until the next payday? That stuff would get old pretty fast. But we are more open to listening to people, to talking to people who spend the time building a relationship with us. And in spirituality, when we build a relationship with the divine of our understanding, we really get ourselves into a position where we can deal with the divine a lot more effectively. And meditation is best done not for the purpose of gaining something like prayer, right? Even if it's something unselfish. Meditation is best entered into just for the sake of hanging out and building a relationship with the divine of our understanding. And so meditation differs from prayer, and meditation can be a lot more powerful and can help us to empower our prayer life by opening the door to wisdom. Because a lot of times when we pray, we want something, we don't have it, we want it, we demand it, we beg for it, and we still don't get it, and we don't understand why. But when we spend some time in meditation, we open the door to wisdom and we can begin to understand, okay, this is what I lack. This is what I feel that I lack anyway. And now I begin to see why I'm lacking it. And once we learn to build a little bit more wisdom, get a little more closer to the God of our understanding, to the universe, to the force, however we want to, speak of it. Once we get closer to this ineffable power, then we can begin to know ourselves more deeply. We can begin to understand this higher power a lot more effectively. And we can begin to understand our relationship with other people, with the universe, and with the God of our understanding a lot better. And when this door to wisdom is opened, then we begin to understand what our problems really are, what the root cause of our problems really are, and how we can more effectively solve those perceived problems. So, meditation is something that lacks in the spiritual lives of so many people. Churches, mosques, synagogues, they do a great job of teaching people to pray. They do a great job of giving people the words to pray and telling them how many times a day you should be praying. But when it comes to listening to God, a lot of these same religious institutions do a terrible job of helping people connect with their higher power. And that is a real travesty, because the greatest gift that we can give to our people, whether you represent a church or not, whatever spiritual path you're on, the greatest gift that you can give to your people is the gift of allowing them to experience God in their own way and to develop that relationship with God without gatekeepers, without people stepping in and saying, you can do this, you cannot do that. There's a lot of very self-righteous hypocrites out there that think they have the power to play God and tell you what you can and cannot do. I prefer to open the door to God, step aside, and let the person enter on their own. This is what Jesus said so many years ago when he was talking to the scribes and the Pharisees of his day. And he said, prostitutes and tax collectors are entering the kingdom of heaven ahead of you. Jesus was very good about opening the door to the divine and encouraging people to enter into that kingdom of heaven that lies within the heart of each and every person, that divine spark that is in all of creation and definitely within all of humanity. And meditation is a great way to get to know this divine spark, to hang out with this divine spark, have a relationship with this divine spark, and begin to come to the understanding that God is not something that exists only outside of you in the wider cosmos, but is a power, a field, an energy, an intelligence, and a love that is found right here, right within your very heart, right within your very soul. And when people spend time in meditation, they begin to understand this. They begin to get a lot more comfortable with being with the divine of their understanding, and a lot more comfortable and effective when they actually want to talk to this entity, to this power. So the difference between prayer and meditation, very simply put, prayer is talking to God, meditation is listening to God, and meditation is building a relationship with God. And before you spend a lot of time praying to God, talking to God, begging God for this, that, or the other thing, I think we are a lot better off if we spend time actually developing a relationship with the divine and then speaking our heart from the center of that relationship. And yes, God is not some ineffable thing out there someplace. I mean, he is out there someplace. He, she, it, however you want to speak of the divine. But the divine is also right here. We all have the pathway to God hidden within us. And once you learn to open the door to that secret place and step through it, everything opens up. Like the Oracle of Delphi said many, many, many centuries ago. How many millennia ago was it? I don't know. But the Oracle of Delphi once famously said, "Know thyself, and you will understand the universe and the gods." And when you begin to understand that we all have that divine spark within us, then it makes perfect sense. Go within, and you will understand that which is without. Meditation makes this possible. So, if your prayer life lately sucks, if you've been asking and asking and asking and demanding and demanding and demanding and not getting what you've been asking or demanding, then maybe spending a little bit of time every day in meditation might help grease the wheels for you. Make your prayer life a lot more effective. Make your relationship with your higher power a lot more love-based. And a lot of people will get involved in meditation in order to gain something. I started the practice of meditation very, very strenuously, let's just say, about 20 years ago when I began to give up alcohol. I was a functional alcoholic for a great many years. And then 20 some years ago, I decided, I need to quit drinking. And so I began meditating, hoping it would give me the power to sober up and stay sober for the conceivable future. And yeah, it worked. But I began to meditate in order to gain something. Something noble, yes, sobriety. But blessed are the ones that meditate not just to gain, but just to hang out, just to build that relationship with God. And that's the best way to start meditation. Some people will meditate because they are anxious. They want to cure their anxiety. Or they're drunks, they want to gain sobriety. Or their blood pressure is too high and they heard somewhere that meditation can help reduce your blood pressure, help you lose weight, good things like that. And all that stuff is true. Meditation can help in all of that. But the best way, the best attitude from which to begin a meditation practice is one where you just don't want anything. No desires, no demands. Just hang out with the universe, with the field, with the God of your understanding, and build a relationship with that power. And you start a meditative practice on that level, you can really empower yourself greatly, even though you may not want to. But you begin the relationship out of love, and love will empower you. Love is one of the strongest powers that exists in the universe. God is love, says the scriptures. So you get close to that power of love, out of love, then yeah, you cannot help but become a far more powerful human being, and a far more powerful spiritual being, and a far more pleasant spiritual being to be around. So yeah, keep on praying. I encourage that. But meditate every day. And we've all heard this little bit of wisdom, Listen more than you speak. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. 2 ears so you could listen twice as much as you talk. Meditation is the same way. Meditate more than you pray, and see if your prayers don't start to become a lot more effective. Okay, this is Ralph signing out. Thanks for dropping by. We'll catch you later with more spiritual topics and all that stuff later on. If you would like to check us out online, you can go to tarotbyralph.com. I've got all of our activities there, and tarotbyralph.com/offerings has got our complete line of offerings there. And yeah, check us out there. And the link will be in the program description down below. So until later, this is Ralph signing out. We'll catch you later on. And until then, have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.